All right, guys, what do we got?
How do you handle their speed? They're probably faster than anybody else in the league. So how do you get, especially on a short week when you can't practice?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely the fastest group that we've seen so far on tape. You got to do it in a variety of different ways, different coverages, different ways to try to slow them down. I don't want to get into too specific, but it's something that not a lot of people have been able to do. Ultimately, you got to try to keep the ball in front of you. But, hopefully some of the things that we're going to do, some adjustments that we're going to make will allow for that to happen.
Maybe get it out a little quicker and throw it a little shorter to get their speed guys the ball?
It's both. I mean, you'll see him throw the ball down the field and hit some big plays, but then you'll see a lot of catch and run. We're in rhythm. He's throwing the ball, whether it's play action or he's just getting the ball out quick and quick game. He does a really good job with it. He's accurate. Like I said, he really throws the ball in rhythm well, and then he has those guys, when they catch it, you better be on them and you better take great angles, because not all the explosives are what you think, right? Like you're asking, they don't just throw the ball down the field. It could be a slant that goes for 60 or 70, or it could be a screen. They probably throw as many screens as we've seen on film in a variety of different ones. And it's not just the receivers, it's the backs too. So they've done a really good job creating creating some mismatches, getting the ball in space, and letting their guys kind of catch and run. So they do a really good job with that.
Tyreek Hill went off all last year, then he had a big week one this year. He just hasn't been able to duplicate that. Maybe no one could duplicate what he did last year in his video game numbers, but how teams kind of kept him in check this season?
Well, I really went back and watched what he's done last year. It's pretty impressive what I see him do this year. Everybody's trying to take him out of the game, and they're still not doing a very good job of it. So we better be on it. We better know where he is, or he could have another one of those games like you're talking about.
Talked last week about Hopper, and with the injuries to Cooper and McDuffie, what have you seen from Hopper in practice and in the action he got last Sunday to make you think he can handle it if he needs to do more?
Well, this week we've just been walking through, so there's really not much to see there. But I think someone asked the question last week, and they brought up Hopper, and coincidentally, he winds up going in the game and playing a little bit more than he has. Like I said last week, he's done a really good job, whether he's on that look team or whether we put him in on reps, and you can see him getting better, getting more comfortable, being more confident. I thought when he did go in the game, I thought he was physical. I thought he played fast. And I think, he took advantage of the opportunity, and if he has that opportunity again, I think we're all confident that he'll be able to do it again. I just think he continues to go like this, and over time, I do believe he'll be a good player for us.
Why did he play that first snap of the second half?
McDuffie was still in the locker room, so he was in there while McDuffie was running out of the tunnel, so that's why. Nothing more I can give you on that one. That's just the truth. Because I looked and saw the same thing, and I saw McDuffie running out of the tunnel, and then he came out the next play.
Out, or was he being checked over? Or?
Yeah, he was being looked at in the locker room. Sometimes that happens. It's a quick turnaround, so if anything happens sometimes when you're up on defense right away. But we didn't miss a beat. He went in, and then McDuffie ran out and came back in the game. But that's all I got for you there.
Hey Jeff, what did you see on Lucas's sack there, and just how big can that moment be for a young player? When you have it's kind of stepping up in that spot and having a difficult play like that.
Yeah, I hope it gives him the confidence that he's been looking for. Kind of went in with power, continued to fight, and did a really nice job finishing on the ball. I thought he played a better game, and I think he'll continue to get better. Hopefully, it's just the confidence, just getting in routine, feeling good about himself, and going out this week and continuing to do so. But we have a ton of confidence in him, and I think he did a really job in the running game. I think our D-line, that's about as good as our D-line's played. And I know we all want to talk about sacks and pressures, and I totally get that. But to hold that team to 44 yards rushing, and I know they were missing a guy, but that's an explosive run offense with really good backs. And if you watch our D-linemen, the way they stayed square, the way they used their hands, the way they got off blocks, the way they kind of took the space out of the game, I credit our D-line. They played a really good game.
Specifically, it seems his numbers have improved the last few weeks. What have you seen from him lately, and what kind of progress has he shown over the course of the season?
I think he's getting comfortable, and I'm glad you noticed that, and I appreciate you bringing that up. I think he's playing faster, more comfortable within the scheme maybe. That's probably a better question for him. But I also think some of the other guys have come on, and I think that he's done a good job with that. I think the coaches have done a good job moving him around, trying to put him in good situations. But I can kind of feel him coming now, and that's exciting because we're going to need him too down the stretch, especially with some of these games coming up.
Back to Van Ness for a second. You guys have talked this year, and they talked last year about possibly using him as an inside rusher too. And I'm thinking we really haven't seen that yet. Is that something still to come, or is there a reason why you prefer to keep him on the outside for now?
Yeah, we've worked quite a few other guys on the inside if you've seen lately. You know, Carl's been in there a bunch, Kobe's been in there some, and then you got some other guys in there. We've moved them around on early downs, just not as much right now on those pass rush situations. So that's something that could be coming up pretty soon.
What did you see from Quay Walker and his performance on Sunday?
Yeah, I thought Quay played his best game. And, you know, which I was really proud of him. And it was really cool to see because I think if you ask Quay the week before, I think he would tell you he didn't play his best game, right? And I thought the way he responded and the way he practiced, and just in practice, it was like he was on a mission last week. And then he went out and he played like that. He was fast. He was getting downhill. He tackled well. He played with great fundamentals. He was using his hands. He had a couple TFLs. You know, on the ball, on those tosses that they were trying to get out on the perimeter like the Bears did the week before. I mean, he was just getting there and beating people to the punch, and he was knocking guys back, and he was setting the edge. I mean, he was really good in pass coverage. I think if you ask him, he probably should have intercepted that ball. I don't know. I think that's the best game that he's played. I mean, at least since we've been together, and I hope he can build off of that. But again, I think the coolest part is how he responded. I mean, it says a lot about him, and I was really proud of him.
So is it a concerted effort from you as a play caller to get him that pressure on the opening drive, just to not get his confidence back, but to get him rolling a little bit through the A-gap there on the first drive?
On the third down? It was a call we really liked, and we felt confident when we watched him do it in practice against our offense. I mean, it looked really good a couple times we ran it, so that was just kind of circled as the one I wanted to get in a certain situation, down distance and field zone, and it just so happened it came up, and we felt confident in it. But the reason we felt confident is because of how good he executed in practice. I mean, it wasn't so much the call, it was how well he ran it, and he's really good at stuff like that. So, and maybe, you know what, maybe that got him going early on, and he just got that confidence going, which sometimes people need, and it just continued. And I thought like I said, I thought he played his best game.
Jeff, what was your process Matt was telling us that you guys during the bye week tried to get a jump on this game because of the short week and them being an uncommon opponent. So what was your process like? And it doesn't sound like there's as much carryover from Mike McDaniel's offense to Matt's. So how big of a challenge is it to get ready for this group?
Yeah, these weeks are challenging, and that's a good question because I don't know if most people know how much goes into getting ready for somebody when today was like Thursday and Friday, and yesterday was like Tuesday and Wednesday. I mean, let alone it being hard for us, for our players. You know, those are the ones who a lot of times, I asked a couple guys today how they were feeling because usually they don't start feeling good until Wednesday because what they just went through in the game. So you got to give them a ton of credit and respect for preparing the way they are, trying to recover, get a game plan in when I feel like we played the 49ers, a day ago. But for us, during the bye week, what I did was I took the first 2 days and me personally, I can't speak for everybody, I watched a lot of the Dolphins film and I kind of took my notes and I got preliminary thoughts and I made the cut-ups that I would normally start to make on a Monday, right? And I kind of came up with preliminary thoughts, first, second, third down, and wrote them down. And then truthfully, I put them away. And I thought our staff, the assistants, did a really good job, on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday leading up to the game. They kept working. And they kept getting all their projects done that usually we don't even get done until possibly Thursday of the following week. So they had to work ahead. It's just really hard, for me at least, and again, I can't speak for anyone else who's calling a game. It'd be really hard for me to start looking back at Miami when we're trying to defend the 49ers. Imagine studying for a test all week, and then a day before the test, you start studying a different subject. And that would have I can't do that. So give credit to the assistants for all the work that they did to prepare it. So then when we came in, really right after the game, we just kept working. And they were ready to roll, and then I kind of got back into it. But it was the bye week that we did take the time to do that.
So is what Miami shows similar to what Matt has done, what Kyle has done, or do you just look at them and say, I'm just focused on what they are right now?
Yeah, that's a good question because there is similarities. Obviously, I was with Mike in Cleveland and Kyle in Cleveland, then I was with Mike and Kyle in San Francisco, and now I'm here with Matt, so I've kind of seen, and then you play against Sean, and then you play against Kevin, and it's like all these, you can see the difference, but there are some similarities that pop up, and you're like, oh, that's kind of like what, Matt did to us in training camp, and that's kind of what Kyle did in this situation, and you do see it, but they all have their own flavor on it. So there's differences. So you can't just go in and it's like, we just played against Kyle and now we're just going to roll out the same plan. That's not going to work. But there's definitely, when you watch the tape, from guys that have kind of been together, you do see some similarities for sure.
Jeff, since we enjoyed our back and forth last week so much, I'm curious, how much of a building block, I understand they were missing some pieces, but how much of a building block is what you did as a unit against the 49ers? Because you weren't thrilled with how you and your guys had been against the Bears. So how big was that to bounce back and play the way you did, and how much of a building block is it?
Yeah, no, and I appreciate the question. And I feel like with you guys, though, that, you guys are great. I was joking, right? You guys can come at me whenever, I get your job. So first of all, I do respect your jobs. I respect all of your questions. But I'm not like a facetious type of guy. I'm positive. I got good energy, and I want to be around that. And there are times when, we didn't play well. And that's what I try to finish with. But what I saw when I watched the Bears tape, and after I talked to you guys, what I saw and we talked about as a staff after we watched the Bears tape, we were in position, maybe as good as we've been all year within our scheme, to make a ton of plays. And for some reason or not, we didn't do it. And we didn't. We couldn't get off the field on third down. We weren't sending the ball back inside. And what the beauty of it was, and you guys said this, we were able to correct that hard off of a win, which doesn't always happen, right? And this game, we were in the positions, and the guys went out and they executed, and they made the plays. They did. It's the first third down, instead of losing our rush lanes and missing a sack, we got them down, and we almost got the ball out. It's 4th and 2 in this game, and X comes out and he bats the ball down in a crucial situation of the game. It's another 4th down where Evan Williams does the same thing. So we're 3 of 10 on 3rd down this week, and they're 0 for 2 on 4th down. That's the complete opposite. So the credit goes for the players because they went out and they executed, and they played really well. And on the tosses a week ago where the ball's getting out because our angle is bad, like you guys asked last week, now we're setting the edge and forcing a really good back inside, and the players are making the plays. So what it is it's exciting to see that they know what they're doing and they can go execute it. And that probably was a great feeling at the end of the game, and I thought the assistants did a great job because that's a hard – I don't care who was playing, and I get it. I know who wasn't playing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, I'm not. They're good players, but at the same time, that scheme, the players they still had, and that coach were very hard to defend. So I give credit to the guys on the team. I thought you were going to ask me, how'd you give up that touchdown to Kittle? That's how I thought you were going to start. That's what I was waiting for. I knew someone was, how do we give up the touchdown to Kittle? I thought that would be the only question I got asked about the game. I'm just joking.
Interesting play. Do you tell your guys, shade to the guy who they want to get the ball to? In that situation, right, you don't want, Kittle's going to get the ball, right?
Yeah.
Is that the learning point there, the teaching point there?
Well, I'll just be brutally honest with you. There's some calls you make, and you're doubling their best players, period. The one we were in, there should have been a player exactly where he caught the ball, and it was a mistake. And maybe I should have called the other one, right, because it didn't work. But that was just a mistake that they scored on. And he's a really good player. And, yeah, it's like you leave that guy that wide open in the end zone, and it's something probably didn't go right. And I'm not blaming the player because clearly we didn't coach it well enough to get it done. But that's all that happened there. Should have 3 guys on him.
In a pickle there, right?
Quay was not Quay. Quay was in the right spot. But no more digging on who should have been there.